Hello everybody, John here from the esports department, going over tonight's two-game LPL slate. Interesting little slate. This first match really caught me off guard when I first looked at it, but I think that, there is some very valid statistics to back up what they're talking about. Sunning minus 230 against LNG plus 175. Sunning 6-5 on the season, LNG 8-3 on the season. So we have a team that's been one of the star come-ups of the season in LNG, playing against Sunning, who had a terrible start to the season and has kind of they've wavered. They've been back and forth throughout the year. The stats go LNG's way: 1823 to 1802, plus 115 to plus 53. Advantages in first blood and first turret for Sunning, as well as a 5% dragon advantage. But generally speaking, looking at Sunning at minus 230 and LNG at plus 175, I still think LNG is probably a really good bet in this spot. But if you look at their statistics only over the course of the last 18, 19 days, like this month, LNG is 4-7 in games this month, where Sunning is 9-4. So definitely a come up for Sunning in recent times. I can understand the reasoning behind this. I do think LNG, especially with they brought in a new bot lane, I do think the new bot lane is probably at least on par with the old bot lane. It's really just a matter of whether or not they get the time in to sort of gel as a team and make sure that they're on the same page. I think it's really rare that teams bring somebody up from the LDL and the person that they brought up from the LDL is way worse than the person they're replacing. I think that's really rare. Generally speaking, the people that are coming up are at least as good, sometimes better, and it's just a matter of getting the team cohesiveness together. So, I can see why they made Sunning a favorite. I still think minus 230 is a little heavy-handed. The plus 175 feels like a pretty good bet. I think it's more, to me, like a Sunning minus 150, LNG plus 135 type situation. I think LNG's pretty live to win this match. Unfortunately, I think that's going to be pretty common sentiment from people looking at this slate. I think Sunning or LNG is definitely going to be like your highest owned underdog. There's only a couple underdogs on the slate, obviously, but I think LNG is going to have pretty reasonable ownership given that they're underdog priced and have a better record on the season, better GPM, better GDM, etc. I find it hard to believe that LNG is not going to get some pretty serious ownership on this slate. I wouldn't be that surprised to see LNG and Sunning very close to each other in GPPs on this slate. In the other matchup, we have FPX at minus 475. They're 8-3 on the season, up against OMG, who is plus 315. They're 6-5 on the season. OMG kind of a big backslide in general, considering how they started the season. They have a losing record in games this month, as opposed to FPX, who's kind of come into their own and is now getting Crisp back from his injury. I assume that's a good thing. I do think Crisp was the better support. The question is just whether his injury is still plaguing him in any way. Hopefully he's just feeling better now, but statistically it's not a super close matchup. 1904 to 1748, plus 141 to minus 76. The advantage in first blood is actually pretty heavy for OMG, but the first turret advantage is super heavy for FPX, and the dragon advantage is almost 20%. Just taking a quick look at the odds on the first bloods and first turrets in that matchups, because it stands out pretty heavy. On both sides, the numbers stand out. So I'm interested to see. First blood, they have FPX at minus 130 and OMG at even money. Could be a good spot to go for OMG, even money. Pretty reasonable advantage there. In first turret, they have FPX all the way down at minus 185, which is one of the biggest numbers I've ever seen for first turret. So I don't think I'd mess with that one. Minus 185 seems too heavy. The OMG even money first bloods aren't a bad idea, I don't think, though. I kind of wish we were getting a plus money number, given that we do think OMG is the worst team. But if we're not going to get a plus money number on it, I think even money's about right for the difference that they have, and then counting their variance and skill level as well. I wouldn't mind fading it, but if you wanted to bet it, I think it's reasonable at least. As far as cash games go, I think it's pretty clear FPX and Sunning is what you have to play. The safest thing is clearly going to be an FPX heavy stack. For ownership, it's definitely going to be FPX, Sunning, LNG, OMG. If you're playing bigger field GPPs, I don't mind the idea of going with an OMG lineup. It feels like they have the best, like the combination of upside, chance to win, all those things together. OMG feels like kind of the best play on the slate. Let's look at cash real quick because I want to talk possible GPP variations. So the lineup that pops up immediately is a 4 Sunning with Angel Captain. I like when I see something like this. I understand why this is the best projected lineup for sure. Angel and them in a very good matchup. You get Doinby as well when you play the Angel Captain. I'm guessing you can't go 280 carry Captain. LWX has been pretty cheap a lot of this year, but can't go to 80 carry Captain probably. But I'm guessing going down to Jungle Captain or even top lane Captain, that's like what I would be doing if you're playing GPPs and you want to throw some Sunning FPX lineups in there. Get away from the mid captain, go down to the jungle captain, go down to the top lane captain. Now this isn't the best combination of teams to play top lane captain, but I mean you're looking for some bizarre results if you want to end up winning on these slates. So it wouldn't be that bizarre of a result for Bin to have one huge game or Nuguri to have one huge game. And that's all it takes to make them the highest scorers on the slate. So if you're thinking about playing these two teams in GPP, for me, it's simply the easiest idea of just dropping down in your captain setups. It's instead of playing this Angel Captain, which is playable. If you're going to play 4 FPX, let's have a look and see if there's anything to be done with that. Just go 4 FPX, take their team slot out of there. Oh, use optimizer settings, please. Did I not set it up properly? Or is it just labs being labs? Let's see. So you can get a 4 FPX with Angel Captain. Can Doinby and Angel switch? I take it no. Yeah, they can. So you can get a Doinby Captain 4-3. Also, if you're playing cash, given how much safer FPX feels than Sunning, it really feels like you should just be playing this Doinby Captain, even if it projects a little bit worse. The Doinby Captain 4-2 has got to be better. You could drop down to like on, and that gets you TN, so you can play pretty much, you know, almost whatever kind of combination you want of 4 FPX. If we go from Nuguri to Bin, yeah, you can play all these Doinby captains, so that just makes me even more likely to play some jungle and top lane captains in the GPPs, because there's a lot of combinations of mid captains that people are going to be fine with getting. I wonder if you could play 80 carry captain if you play like a 3-3, because that'll be another thing that will be very popular if that's something you can do. Oh wait, I already have FPX. I already have him. So I have to go back and switch one of these over. Yes. You can play 80 carry captain 3-3s. So those aren't terrible in GPPs either, but it just means there's a lot other lineups out there that can draw people away from going to the jungle or top lane captains, which is where I think I'm going to put most of my lineups. Probably some of these 80 carry captain 3-3s are going to be alright if you can fit a few of those. I'm sure they're going to be pretty heavily owned, though. I don't think you're getting any kind of decent ownership on these. I'd rather be switching over, playing something like another kind of lineup I like a lot for GPPs. Something like an Angel Captain with 4 FPX. Something like this. If you're playing bigger field GPPs, I like this kind of lineup too. It's not super. I mean, this is what won last night. So, but if you look at my lineups last night in the big $15, almost all of my lineups are this lineup construction. The 2-4. Sometimes when there's limited options where there's going to be a ton of people playing something like mid-captain, but you think mid-captain is like the best thing to play, it's easy to just make this switch and just hope that like Angel, this setup just says FPX is the bloodier series, but Angel just has one absurd game where he gets like 12 kills or whatever, and so he ends up being the highest scoring mid laner. And it's not insanely common, but it is something that happens. Or, Doinby has a slight off day in one of his games and still scores like pretty well, but doesn't do as well as the rest of his team, but it still scores all right. Those kinds of things can definitely happen. So worth thinking about for that. For cash games, I think I probably just go with a 4 FPX because I think the safety outweighs like the slight edge in floor. Like, I mean, if you look at these guys, it's like a 0.5 difference between Angel and Doinby in projection, and FPX is much safer. So I think I just go with a Doinby captain. Just really quickly, if you were playing Doinby captain, and you're playing Sunning, so you just have to figure out which of these positions between jungle. TN is about 2.7 points worse, and this is only 1 point. So this is what they would prefer if you're going to play the Doinby captain. A 592 expectation looks pretty good to me. So that's all for tonight, guys. That's what I'm going with. A little bit longer video than normal, but I just wanted to go over a couple GPP things too. I feel like I don't touch on GPPs enough some of the time, especially on these smaller slates, and like ways to get unique and ways to have interesting lineups. So just try to talk about that a little bit. And I will be back tomorrow. Hit me up in the Discord or on Twitter if you have any questions. And we'll be ready to get back into 4-game slates tomorrow. I appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you later.